Hello and welcome back to Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Today I'm flying non-stop from Austin to Honolulu on Hawaiian's new direct route. This is my first round of travel this summer, and we're starting off strong with the only transoceanic flight currently serving KAUS. Hawaiian started flying this route back on April 22nd of 2021, so it's a relatively new flight, all things considered.
Hi. Yes, we are.
Okay, so y'all's name is not on this list, so y'all did the COVID test?
Yes.
Alright, do y'all have your QR codes?
Yes.
Alright, just make sure y'all have them ready so when y'all get up there, y'all can show them or you can get your wristbands and let Honolulu know your answers are negative. And are y'all...
Check-in is relatively straightforward, but there are a few extra steps associated with flying to Hawaii in the current world climate. In order to enter the island without having to wait the mandatory 10-day quarantine, all passengers must take and have a negative COVID test 72 hours before their flight is scheduled to depart. ABIA has a helpful on-site testing facility that we chose to get our tests at in the days prior. It's not much more than a couple shipping containers retrofitted to house the testing equipment, but it gets the job done. In addition, all passengers must fill out a health survey 24 hours prior to boarding on Hawaii's Safe Travels website. Once all of this is completed, each passenger will be given a wristband, which indicates that they have met the criteria listed and are safe to enter the islands. This band will be presented just before exiting the air side of the airport in Hawaii. Security is a breeze, and soon we're walking through the airport to our gate. ABIA recently expanded the size of its main terminal by 9 gates on the east side of the concourse. Our flight will be departing from Gate 1, one of only a handful of wide-body approved gates in the airport. And speaking of wide-body aircraft, here's our aircraft, a Hawaiian Airlines Airbus A330-200, registration number November 374 Hotel Alpha, with the nickname Melemele. This is currently the only wide-body passenger aircraft flying out of Austin, although British Airways and Lufthansa are planning on resuming international services in the coming months. A benefit of flying out of the east part of the terminal is the new airport viewing platform that was opened along with the gate expansion. This platform overlooks the eastern gates as well as arrivals and departures on runway 18 left/36 right. There's plenty of tables and seats up here to accommodate a larger crowd, and it's an awesome way to get some cool shots of aircraft moving around the airport. Our flight this morning is Hawaiian Airlines 81, non-stop from Austin to Honolulu, with an estimated departure time of 10:05 a.m. Boarding began about an hour before that, but I was in one of the latter boarding groups, so I wasn't on the aircraft for another 20 minutes.
It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as I get on the one. Yeah, I know, but I want to be on the far side. Hi, 34H.
Crossover head down.
Boarding on Hawaii is lovely. The cabin crew are super nice, and the PA system is always playing light music, which gets you in the mood for your final destination of Hawaii. The standard Hawaiian seat has 16.5 to 18 inches of width and 31 inches of pitch. For this flight, however, I'm seated in Extra Comfort, which usually affords an extra 5 inches of pitch and 1.5 inches of width, up to 36 and 18 respectively. I say usually because I'm not actually seated in a standard Extra Comfort seat, at least not on this route. Instead, I'm seated in seat 34J in the mid-aircraft exit row. Each seat in this row has the standard 18 inches of width, but the pitch is as far as your legs can stretch. I'm 6'3" and I have plenty, and I mean plenty of space in front of me to stretch out. The only disadvantage of these seats is the lack of floor storage, and thus all bags you would usually store below the seat in front of you must be placed in an overhead bin for takeoff and landing. Because this is an exit row, all passengers must be willing and able to assist in the event of an emergency, a cost that is totally worth the extra legroom. But I'll let you listen to the full safety briefing from our awesome flight attendant, Jimmy.
Willing and able to assist us in case there's an emergency.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's what we need from you guys, your willingness to help. But I have to give you the ground rules, okay? First rule, if there's ever a problem, open that window and take a look outside to see what's going on. Okay? There's danger, like there's water that's gonna come in, or there's fire outside, or there's structural debris that can cut you up. Then we will not use this exit. We have other exits all throughout the aircraft. But if I am incapacitated and there's an order to evacuate given, this is how you do it. You see these two handles here? This one here on the right side is part of the airframe. Okay? We want you to hold on to the airframe. One on the left, my left is door. Do not hold the door because when you open this handle, you're gonna fly out. The door is gonna open so rapidly that if you're holding the door, bye-bye. Okay. So we don't want that to happen. That's not good, okay? We want you to stay inside to help people out. Okay. There's a slide in here that's gonna inflate automatically once that door swings open. Okay. Your job is to stand here and help pull people out. Okay. Do you think you can do that without getting hurt? There's more information in the safety briefing card in your seat pockets, okay? For taxi takeoff and landing, a flight attendant, it's gonna stay here, okay? Well, we ask you can keep your things up there for the takeoff and taxi. Later in the flight, you can pull them down. Okay?
All right, perfect.
About your seat.
Time for some more information about the seat. Both the tray table and video monitor are located in the seat such that they can be safely stowed for takeoff and landing. The tray table is just below the central armrest and pulls up and folds out across the seat. The video monitor is located inside the bottom of the central armrest as well, and is accessed via a small lever which unlocks the monitor. It can then be pulled up and out to be accessed by the passenger. In addition to the in-seat monitor, there are several video monitors located throughout the cabin. These play music and videos for the whole cabin, such as the music you're hearing now, or the in-flight safety video. Once off the ground, these will show a selection of in-flight information, such as distance to destination and altitude. As we push back from the gate, it's time for a new segment I'm calling Stats for Nerds. Starting off, our aircraft, November 374 Hotel Alpha, was delivered to Hawaiian in October of 2014. It is powered by two Rolls-Royce Trent 700 engines, producing a maximum of 71,100 pounds of thrust each, for a combined thrust of 142,200 pounds of thrust. The Dash 200 model has a total length of 192.98 feet, with a wingspan of 197.83 feet, a maximum range of 7,250 nautical miles, and a cruising speed of 629 miles per hour, or Mach 0.82, at an altitude of 41,000 feet. Hawaiian operates a cabin size of 278 seats, with 18 first-class seats, 68 extra comfort seats, and 192 main cabin seats. In addition, each Hawaiian A330 model is named after a celestial body. Ours is named Melemele, after the twin stars. Our flight taxied out via Charlie 1, Golf 2, Golf, and Charlie, where we waited for our clearance to depart.
As members of our flight crew share the safety features of this aircraft and some of our favorite spots throughout the islands. For your comfort and safety, please fasten your seatbelt. Insert the flat end into the buckle, pull the strap to tighten. To release, lift the top portion of the buckle and pull away. Seatbelts should be worn low and tight. It is Hawaiian Airlines policy that you keep your seatbelts fastened at all times when seated. When the seatbelt sign is not illuminated.
An interesting sight at the airport was this American Boeing 787 waiting for a new crew. This aircraft was flying a cargo flight from Seoul Incheon Airport to Dallas-Fort Worth, but was diverted due to weather in the area. After a few arrivals and departures, we finally took our place at the end of the runway and began our 7-hour and 39-minute flight to Honolulu. The first thing to take a look at once in the air is the in-flight entertainment. Hawaiian offers a variety of movies and TV on demand, as well as a few live TV channels. There is also an informational screen showing a map of the flight, time to destination, estimated arrival time, and ground speed. About 30 minutes into the flight, the cabin crew gave out the first snack. This included a drink selection from the standard in-flight choices of coffee, tea, soda, juice, and water, as well as a puahana snack mix, which states it was made specifically for Hawaiian Airlines. I chose coffee as my drink, which comes in a nice Hawaiian Airlines branded cup. This would be the first of 3 on this flight. Once the clouds below gave way, the window provided some amazing views of the Arizona desert and mountain ranges, and soon thereafter the west coast of the US. While we've got a second, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It's totally free and it really helps me out. I've got a lot of awesome content coming in the next couple weeks, so stick around if you want to see more. Lunch came as we were leaving the mainland behind. Our first meal included a vegetable and cheese paella, coleslaw with sesame dressing, and a small cookie. And who could forget that second cup of coffee? Each plate included silverware, a napkin, and a moistened towelette, as well as a pretty floral backing to the tray. Though the presentation wasn't restaurant quality, the food was great. The paella had tons of flavor, even for cruising at 40,000 feet, and the coleslaw was crisp and fresh. The cookie, a pineapple cookie from Honolulu Cookie Company, was an excellent way to wrap up the dining experience, adding a sweet note to a savory and filling meal. The Pacific isn't really a scenic view as most would consider, but it's still enjoyable to take a gander out the window every once in a while and appreciate the clouds in the deep blue sea below. Now, something I haven't covered in my previous videos that I figured I should start doing is the toilets. The rear cabin lavatory was located just in front of my seat, which is both a boon and a burden. The toilets were fairly clean considering how late in the flight I was filming this. Everything is fairly standard, with the usual suite of toilet needs as well as tissues, a changing station, a coat hanger, and an incredibly large mirror. There was also a nice coconut-scented soap, which I assume is standard on all Hawaiian aircraft. The second meal came somewhere over the Pacific. Hawaiian's website considers this more of a snack than a meal, but it's substantial enough to be a meal. The food is delivered in a nice, floral-printed bag with woven straps. Included in our snack sack is an egg, hummus, and tomato sandwich, along with a bag of pauhana snack mix and a piece of dark chocolate with sea salt and toffee. The meal also came with my third and final cup of coffee. The food was okay this time. The sandwich was a little on the dry side and really could have done well with some condiments, but the snack mix was good and the chocolate was even better. As we wrapped up our second meal, we began our descent into the Honolulu area, and finally the islands of Hawaii came into view, providing some incredible scenery in the Pacific below. With one final turn, we entered the pattern for arrival onto runway 8 left. An interesting site to be on the lookout for when on final for 8 left is Hickam Air Force Base. The base shares its runways with the commercial airport, and if you're lucky, you'll see some military aircraft, including F-22 Raptors, out the window or while plane spotting. If you want to see some plane spotting action at PHNL, click the link in the top right or in the description below, where I was able to catch 2 F-22 Raptors going vertical out of PHNL. The standard arrival direction puts most aircraft just in front of the main terminal when exiting runway 8 left, and taxiing to our gate only took a minute or two. After our 7.5-hour jaunt across the Pacific, it's finally time to deplane and enter the island of Oahu. A quick 180 after leaving the jet bridge offers some cool views of the aircraft. In order to leave the airside terminal, it is required that all passengers show the wristband I mentioned earlier in the video, or go through the screening checkpoint located in the walkway between the gates and the main terminal.
Hey, thank you.
Once done, a step through the sliding doors brings you not into a regular walkway, but instead out into the fresh Hawaiian air. That's right, the connecting walkways between all terminals are open, providing some excellent views of the ramp. If you want to see some of that ramp action, click the link in the top right or in the description below to see the video I posted on my second channel featuring a bunch of ramp action. A quick walk to the exit and I've reached the end of this leg of the journey. I'll be posting the next 3 legs of my Hawaiian trip in the coming weeks, as well as a bunch of videos from Los Angeles and New York. If you want to see more content like this, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me and it really helps me out. There's a ton more content coming, so stick around if you want to see more. Thanks for flying with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.